Hello, everyone. Welcome to something I think is very cool because this really does feel like the start of like the road core. I almost would say the start of the open development. It's definitely predates this. I would say the open development aspect goes all the way back to at least when the newsletters first started, but obviously that's a bit less open. And that's kind of interesting because I almost feel like these posts might have subsumed um the newsletter potentially. As far as I know, I think it's from the roadmap. I believe the road core roadmap, which I have covered. That they intend to do monthly blog posts. So this is one of those. This is a development diary. This was part of the open development they outlined way back when road core was announced. Um, but yeah, I think it's still fair to say it kicked in earlier than this. But we're right on the cusp of the closed alpha playtest, the first playtest. So I think this really is the start of something. We're entering another stage basically. Obviously, Rokor's been in development for a while. We've known a fair amount about it for quite a while at this point. But this is another shift in sort of exposure that they're giving it, sort of really letting us in on what's going on with them. And of course, it's going to get even more like that as soon as the first playtest starts, and with them doing development streams, or I shouldn't really call them development streams. That sounds a bit weird, but yeah, well, developer streams, dev streams where they play Rocore. That's something we're going to cover in here, and that's another reason why I think this might have a subsumed a newsletter. And it makes sense. So let's just go through this really cool development diary. I already like that it's immediately confirming. Sorry, I think I just flicked the mic there. The Hammercaster, sort of this bolter rifle weapon that they teased a while ago, and it's clearly come to fruition. So I'm very excited about that because obviously a lot of the um a lot of the guns that we've seen have been pistols so far, or pistol sort of sized weapons. In terms of new guns for Rocal, aside from this fellow back here, which is the mag blaster or the mag rifle. I think it might be the mag rifle. But yeah, let's just get into this. A lot of cool stuff in here. I haven't actually read it really beforehand. I just have an idea of what we're going to see. If I'm not mistaken, there is a video, so I'm actually going to have to make sure I've got. Hold on, I'm going to make sure I've got the browser audio working. Give me a second. And I do. So let's just get into this. Here we go. Hello, Reclaimers. As was foretold in the roadmap, there you go. This is the first of a monthly development update series. I keep hitting those nails, don't I? Filling you in on what we've been up to and what's around the corner. We might switch the format as we go along, but hey, you've got to start somewhere. I mean, I can imagine this kind of thing switching up a bit after launch, for example, for sure. That would make perfect sense. Anyway, in this issue, the big things we worked on in April. I apologise if you hear some loud sounds from outside, by the way. It's pretty hot today, and I've just got back from a drive and I get really hot while driving. So I've just got the windows open, so apologies for that. Anyway, also what to expect and not to expect from the closed alpha playtest. Fair enough, there will definitely be things to not expect from the closed alpha playtests. Sneak peeks at new guns and equipment, that's definitely, well yeah, so that's in this issue, isn't it? Our priorities for May, streaming Roadcore, for example, and other things. I have had a quick glance, and they do talk about sort of their priorities for the coming month, and it all makes sense. Before we start though, we'd like to say big thanks to all of you who've shared your enthusiasm about the game and signed up for the playtest. It's been about 3 weeks since we announced the closed alpha. We've been bowled over by the response so far. We get excited about you getting excited, and that's great motivation as we keep hammering away at the game. So big thanks and much love to you all. Alrighty, blog time. Let's go. Yeah, so we do have this picture, but this is something we've seen before. This is from the trailer. We've essentially analysed this screenshot already in the trailer breakdown that we did last week. Was that last week? Week before last, sorry. Anyway, we does show some things. So we have the Falconeer here using the Field Blaster, I think it's called, Field Emitter. And I think this is the player here is the Guardian using the Mag Rifle. And we have a Spotter here, not doing anything in particular. Got Ellis up here, we've got some Core Spawn Creepers, a Core Spawn... I have still forgotten the names of them. And what overall looks like a relatively... the core biome, relatively speaking, as far as we know. Anyway, April in a nutshell. So that was this month, of course. The playtest is just around the corner. We're working on getting a build together. In game development, a build means a packaged playable version of the game. It's sort of like when you hit save as on a file to print or export it. It'll come as no surprise that getting that first playtest build nailed down has been the big theme of the month. Bloody hell, some birds just flew really close to my window. These have been the month's big projects, nailing down the closed alpha gameplay loop. Our first playtests are focused on how people experience the core, pun not intended. How is it not intended? If you acknowledge it, it's intended by virtue of the fact that you've left it in, I think. Anyway, the core gameplay loop, like the bread and butter of what it's going to be to play the game, of what it's like to play the game. Drop in, get upgrades, do objectives, kill boss, get out. We're balancing that to a point that we're at least sort of happy with, or enough to share it for playtesters' feedback. Makes sense. All that stuff, good stuff. Making sure the playtest won't explode. This is the technical part, rigging up the code that makes the server list functional, ensuring that our servers can handle the playtest traffic, and endless bug fixes and crash investigations. Not to say we've caught and fixed all the bugs, obviously, it's still a closed alpha. Yeah, this thing will not be completely stable. It will likely crash a lot, and there will definitely be a lot of bugs and glitches for sure. But they do seem to be striving for a level of polish that I find quite admirable. Like the fact that they're sort of putting forward the fact that the early access launch will be finished game quality wise, just not content wise. I find that a very promising notion, and I think they can deliver on that. Anyway, preparing to receive a ton of feedback. Launching the playtest means opening the floodgates for loads of survey responses. Surveys, okay, good. Surveys sound good. Discord pings and wordy emails full of players' thoughts on the game. We want all this, of course. It's the whole point of the playtest, but we've also got to make sure we've got a good system in place for reading and reflecting on folks' feedback, and facilitating all the discussions and fixes that will come from that feedback. This whole thing is an exercise in anti-perfectionism. We keep feeling the impulse to make sure everything is just right, exactly how we imagine down to the teeny details. If we get lost in that wormhole, the closed alpha will never come out. It also won't be exactly what other people want, because obviously they really want this to be focused on player feedback. So if you spend loads of time with this perfectionist approach to what your vision is, you might end up with something that is technically perfect, but is not really aligned with the vision of your audience, and that's not something that you want. Anyway, it's almost time to take a deep breath and share what we've got and work from there. So this is so it's an opening animation for a BioBooster console. I don't think that the article goes into exactly what BioBoosters are, and I don't quite remember what they are either. So we're just going to play this animation. Hold on. Should be in HD, really, shouldn't it? But yeah, so it's some kind of upgrade thing, and obviously you get something like that where there's like 4 canisters that I guess all the players can take from to get their Bio Booster upgrade. And as far as we know, pretty much every kind of upgrade is still achieved with Expedite, so we do know a little bit about what this kind of thing is. I think Bio Boosters, if I'm not mistaken, are like non-class specific or class non-specific upgrades, basically, but not for your weapons either. Basically for your dwarf, but they're not class upgrades and they're not weapon upgrades. I think that's what Bioboosters are. Citation needed. Setting expectations for the closed alpha playtest. As we prepare for the playtest, we think it's best if everyone's clear on what to expect here, so we don't set you up for expectations we can't meet. Here are the 3 things you should know about the playtests. The closed alpha is not live yet. Yeah, I suppose that is important to know. Just making this clear, as we've gotten a lot of people asking why they weren't granted access, along with the overall confusion about around the start date. That part's on us, because we haven't given a concrete start date. Well, it's not on you, because people shouldn't think a closed alpha has started when the only thing that's available is a sign-up. There wouldn't be a sign-up available if it had started. Anyway, we still need a bit of time to finish the first playtest build and make sure it doesn't explode our servers or break your computer. We're aiming for the start of May, as we laid out in the FAQ article from earlier this month. Exactly which day, though, remains to be seen. So I have seen that they are planning on starting doing dev streams where they play Rogue Core by the 6th of May. That does not mean the playtest would have started by then, but I think that's clearly the plan. Anyway, let's put it this way. Until you see an announcement here on Steam clearly titled something like the closed alpha playtests are now live, they haven't started yet. Fair enough. To stay tuned on all things closed alpha, make sure to go and follow Rogue Core on our Steam page. That way you'll be sure to get notified when that announcement is published. Yes, do that. There'll be a link to the main Rogue Core Steam page, so you can follow up on that. So we've got some mock-ups for a side objective, the Bighorn Ram Hammer. Oh, that's cool. Oh, I love that. It's like a corridor machine. Like, it's a corridor made of machinery, and I guess this hammer's going to basically shot down it like a railgun into this like expedite deposit. That's actually that's so fucking cool. And that's just a side objective. So yeah, anyway, your odds of getting to the playtest are very low, at least at the start. On the very first day of the first playtest, we'll only be letting a very small handful of people in. We're starting slow, just to make sure the servers can handle it. and that our system for processing player feedback is working as expected. This is to say, brace yourself. It's quite possible, even likely, that you won't get into the closed alpha at the start. It's possible you don't get in ever. I'm prepared for that eventuality. And I'm not married to it either. It would be useful for the channel, I guess, but at the same time, part of me would rather play Rogue Core in a more polished state. Anyway, but don't lose hope, Proclaimer. We'll be letting more people in from there. We'll probably be sending out more invites over the course of that first playtest. Oh, okay, sign up. Sorry, sign ups won't close during the playtest. Then I guess I should take that back. And we will certainly be letting many more in for subsequent playtests. So if you don't get in on day one or even in the first playtest, your odds of getting in will only get better with time. Anyway, good stuff. The closed alpha is not a finished product, far from it. You should think of the closed alpha as a rough draft. Right now, it's not a polished game. You have placeholders, bugs, wonky stuff, and game elements that people find frustrating and clunky and dumb. That's the nature of a rough draft. I like the idea of placeholder stuff, though. I find placeholder stuff quite funny, like in games. So I don't have a problem with that, actually. Actually, no one should, just by nature of what we're playing, or what we will be playing. The point of this whole thing is for us to learn what works and what doesn't. Your feedback is the key ingredient here, so we hope you'll take time to fill out the player survey and or share your thoughts with us in Discord. Based on your feedback, we'll make updates and improvements for subsequent playtests. It's all a work in progress. So yeah, obviously, both me and Tyler are in a position. Neither of us actually have PCs at the moment. The plan is to make that happen this year before Rogue Core comes out. But there are still sort of plans, I guess, rough plans in place where I think I want to have at least played enough. If I do get into the alpha, to have at least played enough where I can fill in that survey would be ideal, I guess. Still don't know exactly how I'd go about it, but I've got a rough idea. Anyway, so here's something. The Hammercaster. Reloading. Firing, reload, and idle animations. Oh, I almost creamed my pants. Very nice. That was brilliant. I really like that, actually. I mean, I'm a big fan of the Hammercaster already. It's going to be a big sort of go-to for me anyway, as far as weapons go. But that just sold me even more. That looks so fun and satisfying. Anyway, our main goals for May. If April's been about preparing for launch, May is about takeoff and the climb toward cruising altitude, or something like that. I don't have a pilot's license. May is when we'll begin the first round of the closed alpha playtest. We expect that will also require some quick response patches to put out fires and fix major bugs and stuff like that. It's also going to be the first month where we get a ton of people's opinions on Rogue Core. It's both exciting and intimidating. We'll spend a lot of time reading your feedback. We'll also be analysing data about how people play the game, what weapons get picked, causes of death, average session playtime, things like that. From there, we'll make some sort of priority list of things we need to work on and set a plan to get it done. But in very general terms, May looks like this. 1. Launch first playtest. 2. Fix major bugs/crashes. 3. Collect a bunch of feedback. 4. Analyse and reflect on all that feedback. 5. Make a plan on where to go from here. This makes sense. May is the initial sort of closed alpha month. I think it will be the most important month as far as playtests go because it's really going to define... May will be a planning month for them. It will be taking in feedback, obviously stomping out game-breaking stuff, but apart from that, it's mainly going to be taking in feedback and figuring out what the bulk of their work for the next few months is going to be. That makes perfect sense. Anyway, in May, we'll also start to stream the closed alpha version of Rogue Core on our weekly dev streams. You're very welcome to tune in and check it out and ask any questions you might have. We're excited to hear your questions, jokes, thoughts, critiques, all of it. We stream most every Tuesday and Thursday, 13 o'clock Central Eastern Time, Twitch, YouTube. Not every stream will be Rogue Core closed alpha, but here it is. So Tuesday 6th of May, Thursday 8th of May, Thursday 15th of May, and Tuesday 27th of May will be Rogue Core streams. So I will be tuning in for probably all of those, and I think there will very likely come videos from those streams, I would say. That would be the plan, I think. So what did we do? We did a podcast last week. Not one this week, not one next week either. So next week will probably be a video based on these streams, actually, the first 2 streams. So that should be exciting. So we will have some Rogue Core gameplay. Anyway, that's it for this update. It ended up being pretty long and detailed. So if you read it all, congratulations on your new membership of the Ghost Ship Book Club or the Ghost Ship Readers Club in my case. Maybe we'll do some future monthly updates in video format or something. No, don't do that because I can't use those. Got an idea for next month's updates? Let us know in the comments below. I feel like next month's one is going to be very much so like here's all the stuff that we learned, what people said, and here's what we're going to do, should be fairly defined, I think. Anyway, thanks for reading Rock and Stone. Anyway, yeah, a really, really nice first like sort of true developer diary for Rocore. It got into a lot of stuff about how the alpha's going to work. Showed some really cool stuff on the animation sort of weapon side of things. I mean, it was a really small snippet, but that side objective I thought was really cool. We've got a theory actually about how that might work. What is it called again? The Bighorn Ram Hammer. Yeah, I think we're probably going to be basically. So this is actually the hammer. Obviously, it's there as well, and there. I think it's probably going to start here actually, and we're probably going to be pulling it back so that it gets like shot into the Expedite or something like that. Yeah, this is the big, because I already knew about the Hammercaster, and I love the Hammercaster, but this is the biggest takeaway for me. I love this thing. Anyway, I was going to get on with some stuff. So we'll see you soon. Well, we'll see you on. Well, we might not see you on Saturday actually. My apologies. It's probably, I think this is technically the off week, so we don't have to do the video. Anyway, I still hope this was informative and enjoyable. If it was, please make sure to like and subscribe. If you want to see more stuff like this and you want to stay on top of everything to Deep Rock and Road Core, then also click that bell. And until next time, on the Road Core Report, the Rogue Report, bye. Bye.